All right, so this is where we left off last time, looking at the book of Amos and how that relates to the fall of 2027. So now we're going to go look at the year of the Jubilee. And so we're going to start off in Luke 4, and this is right when Jesus started his ministry. So after he got baptized from John the Baptist and the 40 days of temptation, which, yeah, you can see right here, temptation of Jesus, and then we have the public ministry. And so, first words he said as a public ministry says, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he has anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim a release to the captives, a recovery of sight to the blind, to set free those who are oppressed, to proclaim the favorable year of the Lord." All right, so he's quoting the book of Isaiah. So let's go ahead and look at Isaiah 61 and figure out more of what's going on here. So, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because the Lord has anointed me to bring good news to the afflicted. He has sent me to build up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives and freedom to prisoners, to proclaim the favorable year of the Lord and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn, to grant those who mourn in Zion, giving them garland instead of ashes, the oil of gladness instead of mourning, the mantle of praise instead of the spirit of fainting. So they'll be called oaks of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he may be glorified. Then they will rebuild the ancient ruins, they will raise up the former devastations, they will repair the ruined cities, the desolations of many generations." All right, so it's just going to keep going here. But anyway, we have something interesting here. It says the favorable year of the Lord. And so my theory is that he's talking about the Jubilee. So Jesus is proclaiming that whatever year he started his ministry, that is the year of the Jubilee. Because it says, "Today the scripture has been fulfilled in your hearing." So that means that the Jubilee is going to start the year that Jesus says this. So we gotta know more about the Jubilee, because it also says that the day of vengeance of our God is going to happen. And so you have a pretty strong argument that the wrath of God will start on a Jubilee because of this. So if we go to Leviticus 25, talks more about the Jubilee here. A little bit more details. "You are also to count off 7 Sabbaths of the years for yourself, 7 times 7 years, so that you will have the time of 7 Sabbaths of years, namely 49 years. You shall then sound a ram's horn abroad on the 10th day of the 7th month. On the day of atonement, you shall sound a horn all throughout your land. You shall thus consecrate the 50th year and proclaim a release through the land to all its inhabitants. It shall be a jubilee for you. And each of you shall return to his own property, and each of you shall return to his family. You shall have the 50th year as a jubilee. You shall not sow, nor reap its aftergrowth, nor gather in from its untrimmed vines. For it is a jubilee. It shall be holy to you. You shall eat its crops out of the field." All right, so what this is telling us is the Jubilee is going to be 50 years. If we can date the birth of Jesus, this is going to give us a much better opportunity to figure out when was the favorable year of the Lord. And so once again, we're going to Shane Nelson, and he's done excellent work in deciphering the Magi from Matthew 2. So I'll just read a couple verses here. It says, "Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea during the reign of King Herod. About that time, some wise men from eastern lands arrived in Jerusalem asking, "Where is the newborn king of the Jews? We saw his star as it rose, and we've come to worship him," or star in the east. What we figured out is that Jupiter and Regulus, you have the king constellation with the king star and the king planet, and it's all having a massive conjunction right around -2 BC, or that's going to be actually 3 BC. Stellarium does not have a year zero. It has a year zero, but when you count dates, it doesn't have a year zero. So you actually have to do 3 BC. It's going to be September 11th in the evening. And you have the sun in Virgo, Jupiter in Leo the Lion. And this is the sign of that was given to the wise men. This is what they were looking for, and this is what they found. So now we have a starting date. And if we were to move forward, we have 2 possible dates. The year 28 or the year 30 AD. And so I'm just going to read this and we're going to go through what we got. So Shane Nelson's work on when Jesus' death took place with his birth happening on 9/11/3 BC. So a little clue here, Luke 3:23, when he began his ministry, Jesus himself was about 30 years of age. So with this information here, we know that this could be when Jesus either being 29 or 31. That's going to be about 30 years old. And both of these actually work with the given day for Passover. And also because Jesus was buried for 3 days and 3 nights like Jonah, the whale Passover has to be in the middle of the week. Both of these days will fit for 28th and the 30th. Good Friday should be called Good Wednesday. Also, Daniel 9:26 puts Jesus' ministry lasting 62 weeks and not 3.5 years as some believe. And so we have Passover, and so he's going through how he calculated this date. You have the new moon after equinox and closest new moon accrued on the day of equinox within acceptable margins, parameters for error, and that has to do with the sighting of the new moon for figuring out the day of trumpets. And so because that starts the calendar, and then that's going to give you the days and the weeks and give you that whole count there. And so on the year of 28, his resurrection on Sunday, May 2nd, and his ascension on Friday, June 11th. You go back 62 weeks from his death. It's his start of his ministry on Wednesday, February 19th. In the year 27, at the age of 29. After 40 days in the desert is Monday, March 31st, 27, year 27. And so let's go ahead and read Daniel 9. See what this says. 70 weeks and the Messiah. 70 weeks have been decreed for your people and your holy city to finish the transgression, to make an end of sin, to make atonement for iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy place. So you are to know and discern that from the issuing of a decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem until Messiah the Prince, there will be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. It will be built again with plaza and moat, even in times of distress. Then, after 62 weeks, the Messiah will be cut off and have nothing. The people of the Prince who is to come will destroy the city and the sanctuary. and its end will come with a flood, even to the end there will be war, desolations are determined. And he will make a firm covenant with many for 1 week. In the middle of the week he will put a stop to the sacrifice and grain offering. And on the winging of abominations will come one who makes desolate, even until a complete destruction. One that is decreed is poured out on the one who makes desolate. So this covers a lot of timelines in here, but the most important one that we're going to look at is going to be 26. And we look at this with a different translation, New Living. Other one I like to use. Let's see here. After this period of 62 sets of 7, 62 sevens, the anointed one will be killed, appearing to have accomplished nothing, and a ruler will arise whose armies will destroy the city and the temple. The end will come with a flood, and war and its miseries are decreed from that time to the very end. And so Jesus was killed, appearing to have accomplished nothing. People thought it was over, and he accomplished nothing from what they saw at that exact moment in time. And so using that, we're going to go with 62 weeks. And so that's how we get March 31st, the year 27. If we go with 30th, or if we go with the year 30, we end up with Tuesday, March 8th, 0029, that year 29. And so for this video, I'm going to be assuming the date of Monday, March 31st for the reading Isaiah 61, as this seems to be the best candidate given what we know. But if we use the alternate different date of Tuesday, March 8th, 2029, then the Jubilee would start in 2029 versus 2027. So the date might shift a little bit, but not a lot. All right, so how did I come up with 2027? So once again, remember in Leviticus here, 50th year. So every 50 years you count. So given that we know that the Jubilee happens at the start of Jesus's ministry, 40 days after he gets baptized, that's going to be the start of his public ministry. And so we have the start in the year 0027. And so if we do some math here, actually first let's go 50 years. And if we times it by 40 Jubilees, we get to the year 2000. 50 times 40 is 2,000 years. And if we have a starting date of 27, we end up with the year 2027 as the start of the Jubilee. And if you remember from Leviticus, you're going to start on the Day of Atonement is when the Jubilee starts. So that puts us in, all right, October. Yeah, Yom Kippur. So we're gonna have the 11th. It's gonna be the start of the Jubilee. So that's what we got there. So pretty interesting stuff. Yeah, so the Jubilee is going to start sometime around the 2027, could be 2028, 2029, 2030. All we know though is that we are really right in that range of the Jubilee. A lot of people have put out different theories on it, but once again, you got to go back to Jesus, and he says the favorable year of the Lord is at the start of his ministry. And knowing the date of when he was born, that's when it's going to happen. So anyway, Up next, I'm going to be going back to the Revelation 12 sign, and we're going to go back to Genesis 3. That's going to be the next video I'm going to put out.